Hey guys, this video is brought to you by G Fuel Energy. G Fuel is the official energy drink of esports. I love G Fuel because it's a healthy alternative to any other energy drink. G Fuel is filled with vitamins and minerals. It has 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and 15 calories. My favorite flavor this week is Clickbait. It tastes so good and it helps me be better at all of the video games I like to play on Twitch. G Fuel is available in lots of gas stations nationwide, or you can go online and use the code Natalie for a special discount. All right, let's start the show. What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. We've got an exciting episode today. I am here with the fantastic Ryan Long and Joe Santagato.
Nailed it. Almost fucked it up.
Oh my God. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. I'm 30 minutes late because I thought this was a half an hour earlier. So
I slept over the night before. Punctuality is very important to me, and it shows.
Yeah.
I was early for the first time ever. I was so excited. I got here before anyone. The first time.
Wow.
So
I completely fucked that up. In my head, I'm like mentally on time because I was here before 6:30, but physically I'm late.
yeah,
so.
I texted you. I was like, "Where are you?" You're like, "Why? What's up?"
Yeah, I was like, why? It's like something.
None of your
wrong?
business for the next 10
Like,
minutes.
excuse me.
I knew it at that moment. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm late. I know it. Like, I fucked this up.
My move that I've been doing a lot lately is getting messages of people being like, "Hey, are you coming on this call?" And I go, "Oh, fuck, yeah, I'm just, my internet's down or something." I run back home.
I used to be really bad with that. I used to miss full meetings with like
Important people,
meetings,
yeah.
and they'd be like calling a meeting just to see me, and I just forget. I don't write it down or put it in my calendar, and then they're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like,
The
"Dude,
subway,
the train." It's like I just blame it on the train or something. I don't know, but usually I'm pretty good with that. But I immediately when I talk to you, I put it in my calendar as 6:30, and then yesterday we spoke, and you said 6, but I guess I just looked at
You
the
had
calendar.
the original.
So I was like, oh, 6:30, I'll be there.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. But usually, luckily, the only time that's happened to me, it was an hour early, and then I just got to the club an hour early and just sat there like a fucking idiot, eating chicken fingers, and I was like, here I am.
If that's the worst time mix-up you've ever had,
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
I mix up months.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I had shows like all the time. I'll go to like a spot and they'll be like, yeah, I mean, that's next month. I go, all right. I actually had recently where Mike Kerrigan messaged me and he was like, it was like 7 and I was getting ready. He goes, just so you know, this is next week. And I go, yeah, I was just about to walk out the door. He's like, for some reason, I thought that you would think that.
I did one time go to the doctor's office on the wrong day. That sucked so much because I went all the way into Manhattan. I'm like in the elevator. I'm like, and they're like, your appointment is tomorrow. And I was like,
That's terrible. I almost made a big fucking. My friend is getting married, and he's like, oh, he just texted me. This was like a month ago, and he goes, May 20th, Spain, my wedding, and I was like, cool. So I'm thinking, someone says May 20th. It's like we're almost at May,
2048.
And then I was like about to book a flight, and I texted him like a couple of days later. I was like, bro, are you talking about this year or next year? He's like, next year. I was like, dude, I almost booked a flight to Spain because of you. It's like, thanks a lot. Like, add the year. Like, fuck, I wasn't going to assume that.
I just drove here from, so I just got my fingers tattooed today.
Okay.
It looks crazy right now because they're so swollen. And my fingers look like fucking sausages right now.
All of those tattoos?
No, I got all of my fingers tattooed and they just look crazy right now.
But you didn't have any of that stuff?
I had like this. Can we do the finger cam, Irish? I have a finger cam.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Just because of
I have a finger cam just for this. Okay, basically, I got most of it's from today, from Zach Bryson at Historic Custom Tattoo. But really,
Cool.
they really look like.
So you have all this you got today?
Yeah, like a few hours ago. It was so fucking painful.
That must have hurt, yeah.
It hurt so bad, I can't even tell you. And it doesn't mean anything except for this one is
I was gonna say
Sagittarius.
Like Icelandic symbols
No,
or something.
that's the other thing is we were just drawing.
I was gonna say, how did you come up with that? You were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna.
I already had these, and so I was just kind of trying to match it.
Uh huh.
And then You know, I'm kind of at this point with my tattoos where I just want to like fill
You want it to
everything
look
in.
cool.
Not only do I want it to look cool.
He's
Yeah.
assuming
Fill
yeah.
space.
He's
I
assuming
do.
that it doesn't look cool yet, but one day when you fill it in, then it will.
You have tattoos, Ryan.
Yeah, I got a few.
I have 3.
What do you have?
I have a pretty big one on my thigh of like a jungle gym that was in my mom's front yard with me and my brother in it. It's like a portrait.
Okay.
And then I
It's
have
where they were first molested.
well, that was not
Never.
the first
It
time.
says never again underneath.
never again. Exactly. And then I have
was his September
Roman numerals
11th.
because I'm basic.
Yeah.
But it's like the address of my mother's house, and then the I is made up of me and my siblings.
Does she still live
Very
there?
sentimental task.
She does live there.
Wait, are you not concerned people are going to find her?
I mean, yeah, I am. They people have showed up there before, like on Easter, like not this past Easter, but on Easter in my life. People have showed up and be like, "Oh, we want to say hi to," and I was like at my aunt's house because like it's fucking Easter,
That is fun.
and they were like, "Yeah, we want to just talk to
Wow.
him," and my dad was like, "The fuck is wrong with you? Like, what are you talking about?" It was like a full-grown woman and her daughter was in the car, and he's like, "Are you?" And he's nuts. So if he's saying that about her, then she must be crazy. And then I have this too, which is like from the Truman Show. It
Nice.
says, "In case I don't see it," and then it's like the end scene where he's like walking up the stairs.
That's just you exiting the Truman Show,
Yes.
leaving the consciousness that they've got you trapped in.
It's very deep.
Okay.
This is like a
meaningful
you gotta
tattoos.
You have
gotta
to do this.
Yeah, you got to do this, but you also have to like everyone has to be smoking joints.
Exactly.
It's like after a bomb rip that you explain that tattoo. Did I ever tell you about?
Yeah. People will be fucking like, "Wow, that's the deepest shit I've ever heard in my life."
Yeah, this one is for first dates,
Have
and
you
that
ever-
one is for hanging with your bros.
Yeah, exactly. This is also my first tattoo, if you couldn't tell.
What is your motivation behind your tattoos?
Okay, what do I got here? Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
This is how I
the
get
ones
people
that
to
you
take off
can
their
show
clothes.
us.
I love mine are the polar opposite. I'm like, these mean nothing, but they're fun.
Yeah, you're like, I drew these half an
I
hour
drew
ago, and I just
these.
put them on my body. You have quite a few, don't you?
Okay, so this right here, that was my grandmother's skull before she died.
She does look very attractive.
I
from
said
that.
I wanted to commemorate her, so we did an X-ray, and then I got the X-ray.
Wow.
I got the same as you, that it's mostly like jokes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Crowns, inside joke, anchor, which is just old tattoo shit. Mm-hmm. A lot of film stuff out. Some cover-ups, a bomb. That was my first band.
You're just having a good time.
Here's my. I haven't gotten a tattoo in over 10 years probably.
Wow.
Except for I got the podcast because someone was tattooing live on stage, and then
That's fun.
Yeah, so it was like a joke, and then $sign, and then I have a bunch of stupid tattoos on my body.
It's fun.
What was your first one?
The ska music guy.
Really? That was your first tattoo?
Yeah, when I was I think 16.
What was your thought when you got that?
Is this, I'm so sick.
It's like, fuck, I'm so cool right now.
Oh my god, dude, I'm so fucking sick.
And you're like, I gotta
Damn.
fill in my arm. It'll look even sicker.
Fuck you, mom.
Oh my God.
Were your parents like super psyched that you were getting tattoos?
Oh, my mom was like, yo, she called her friend. She's like, guess who just became a man?
She's like, damn, dude.
She's smoking a cigarette right now.
Fucking tight.
Yeah.
I go through phases where I'll just like get a tattoo every week, and then then I won't get one for like
My
10 months.
my stepdad said when he saw the tattoo, he goes, you know what? I'm going to start closing the door while I rail your mom. You earned it. You've now earned my respect.
You don't have to listen anymore.
Yeah.
Here's your headphones back.
You've earned my respect
my
as a
God.
man.
That tattoo is worth it for sure.
The term "rail your mom" is so fucking
Oh
funny.
my God.
Hey, bud, I'm gonna be tuning up your mom tonight. And now that you
Your
got
mom.
now that you got that tattoo,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and close that door for you.
That got me psyched. I gotta go rail your mom.
Have either of you heard your parents fuck?
I haven't seen my parents hug.
I was under the
neither.
bed mostly, so yeah,
He said
Yeah.
it.
that's where I slept.
Is that where you do your writing?
No, I've never heard any of that. I've never heard of any of my siblings or anything like that, to be honest. There was one time, I think my brother came home drunk, and then I went downstairs for something, and then because his room was in the basement, which was also like near a laundry room or something. So when I went down there, he like fell asleep with porn open But he wasn't like jerking off or anything. He was just like watching it, I guess, which is even
Yeah,
weirder.
Very
But
weird. Yeah.
That's the only.
I had one
time.
buddy in university that used to do that straight up,
Just
fully
watch it?
closed, watch porn, just like a psycho killer.
Yeah. One of my friends the other day actually told me that he's like, yo, I only watch one video.
What?
I was like, he just like he like picks one and like watches the
Out
whole
of the
thing.
gate, top to bottom.
Familiarity.
And when the credits
Comforting.
hit, that's when I know it's time.
Yeah.
I have
Dude.
never like watched porn for pleasure.
Yeah, you watch it
For
just for
sport.
research.
No.
Yeah.
I don't watch porn. Like I've never jerked
Yeah.
off to porn. I've watched porn probably 3 times.
I know a lot of girls that don't. It's like girls are a even split. There's like the new girl that's like, fucking girls watch porn too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
there's
hard.
like the probably, I would say most girls that I date, but it doesn't mean they're not all lying, but most girls I date are like, yeah, I don't really, like, I don't know.
I actually know a lot of straight girls that watch lesbian porn.
Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah.
before too.
Because they're like, they know what they're doing. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, they
and
all-
also, like,
If they're dating me, I go, you better not be fucking looking at dick. So that's your fucking only option, pal.
Do you feel like you don't want your girlfriend to be watching porn?
It's not, it's all about like what's normal. If it really was a scenario where like every girl was doing it, but it's like if girls on average don't do it that much and your girl's like some porn fiend, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of strange.
I'd rather just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't even need to really know that. Like, I feel like it's kind of your,
Ooh.
like, all right, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't impede on the relationship or become a topic we have to talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I feel
all
like
right.
girls do everything. There's always a reason to it. So if your girl wasn't that into it and she started watching tons of porn, it's like to fucking spite you.
Right.
There's
She's
always-
like
I'm going
telling
to
her
watch someone get
friends.
railed.
yeah, there's always something behind it.
Like your dick is nice, but that dick that I watched last night on my phone was amazing.
yeah, you pull your dick out, they go, huh? All right. And you go, what? Oh.
All right, I guess so.
Hey, all right.
Guys, I usually start off the podcast asking the best advice you ever received, and since we're talking about porn, there is no better
Whoa.
time. Just
Real
kidding.
men get Scott tattoos.
Yeah. Ryan, what's the best advice you ever received?
Okay, this is like a real one, but I think honestly, one of the advices that sort of changed the way I think about things is someone being like, yo, not everyone wants the same things as you. So it's you, because I feel like young people, it's your instinct to treat everyone like they want, like they're you. And then you go,
Yeah.
why is this person not fucking acting the way that, like, So everyone seems irrational until you realize that, they just didn't have the same goals that you did. So treat people on what you think they want, not what you want.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. I feel like I used to do that a lot to people. I used to
Yeah.
be like, or you just like judge people, because
Uh-huh.
you're just kind of like, dude, do you want to like
You don't even...
fucking shoot for the
Yeah.
like? And some people are just
Exactly.
content with what they're doing, and like that's fucking dope.
That's
I fucking wish,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
to be like, oh man, but that took a while for me to be like to
You
finally.
go, why
just
aren't
be
you
like,
want to work on this as hard as
Yeah.
I do? And it's like, well,
Right.
they don't really care.
Or you think you see so much potential in someone, you're like, dude, you could like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why
Like,
would I
don't
want
fucking
that?
care, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're in a lot of ways, like their life might be better. Like you're not only like, is it not rational for people to have different things? Like might not even be right. Like they actually might have made the right choice. Where,
Yeah.
how many people fucking, go into some wild thing, whether it's like being an entrepreneur. Some of them, a lot of people end up like, that was more satisfying. I feel like I did something, and my life was cooler. And some people are miserable and they hate their life, so they
Yeah.
actually would have been maybe better off if they were just like worked at IBM.
yeah, exactly.
When do you feel like this advice has like really been helpful to you? Like what is there a certain example where you're like, okay, this really helped me?
Working
with
with
this
everyone on
relationship?
projects is the biggest one. On working with anyone on any sort of business related thing.
Okay.
But also probably in any relationship. But that's the biggest one is projects, because you go, imagine you think that, imagine you're like, all the type of stuff you want is like very like industry driven, right?
Right.
And then you hire someone and you keep trying to give them perks like, yo, if you do that, I could probably get you on this thing. It's like you kind of are give it, and then it's like, but they don't really care. So you're just, everyone's wasting everyone's time when really what they wanted was maybe, let's try to figure out a way that maybe what this person really wants is like a kind of a cool job that was pretty easy, that they have a lot of free time. And then you set that up and they're actually going to be really happy and a good employee. Whereas if you kind of overload them and then keep giving them, perks that they don't actually want.
Right. So like asking what someone's needs are.
You can't ask them. You just have to be like intuitive about it.
What? You can't read their mind.
You can.
I feel like a lot of people also don't want to disclose that. Like, if you ask them,
that-
what do you want? And they're like,
that's why.
know.
I don't mean you can't ask. I mean,
Okay.
like, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So you get better at judging what people want. I mean, the same reason with guys that are good with girls. Like, you understand, like, what they want,
Right.
right?
I don't know why this reminds me of that, but it's like the same idea of kind of assuming everyone's having the same experience as you. Like when I was in high school, I had a therapist in high school, and I remember, and I was referred to this therapist by like the principal of my high school. And so like he had like ties to my high school, and I remember he was like, Natalie, I just want to let you know I'm going to be at your high school in case you see me in the hallway. Like, just want to like tell you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited you're going to be in my high school because you'll finally see Luke, who I've been talking about in therapy. And he was like, Natalie, how am I going to know who Luke is? And I was just like, oh, like I thought it would be so obvious.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fucking obvious. Luke is the hawk guy walking in the hallway. Duh.
Yeah.
But like I just thought like everyone's experiencing life the way that I am. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, how would he know who Luke is? Like, this is crazy. But it's just kind of like, yeah, like everyone has different wants and different experiences in life. And so it's easy to, especially when you're so focused, like my life is so much about that thing that I want in my career. It's easy to forget that like people have other career goals in the same industry.
Yeah, or other career goals, or their career goal is to just kind of have a decent amount of money and a decent life, so then they can go fucking rock climbing or whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Or even not have any money and rock climb. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like crazy. And I get that. Like, when I used to work.
Some of these people, they beat the system. You know, someone that makes $50 grand a year works fucking 10 hours a week. You go, who really is losing here?
I can't tell you how many articles I've read while I was working at like a desk job. It was a great desk job, but I was like sitting there and being like reading these articles where someone who works for like Goldman Sachs and makes like $300,000 a year, like just quits their job and goes scoops ice cream and like some island. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, there has to be a reason why I'm seeing all these articles with these people doing it. Like clearly you get to a certain point and some people are like, I just followed this and I'm like super successful and making all this money, but this is still not what I want. Like I faked it the entire time.
Yeah, this
and now I'm
stinks.
like, well, I have enough money that I can kind of support myself and afford to scoop ice cream.
Yeah.
But, so I'm going to go fucking do that. Like I'm not going to stay here and keep doing this shit.
Yeah, especially in these weird careers too, because a lot of times you're just like, what is this? What are we even doing here? What is this?
It's wild. What is the best advice you ever received, Joe?
So I have like kind of two answers. One of them I didn't receive. It was just kind of a quote that I saw. But the first one, I think my dad at an early age told me that no matter what, people are going to hate you. Like I remember him specifically saying that.
Not everyone, you.
Yeah. Just you, dude. You know, including me. I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool, Dad. He lives in North Carolina now, by the way. I haven't seen him in years.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw him the other day. Still hates you.
Yeah. No. We have a good relationship. I just, through email. But he told me at an early age, like, no matter what, people are going to hate you. I don't really know what prompted him to say that, but it was like for a reason, like a general reason of being like, that classic
You can't please
cliche
anyone,
thing. Yeah, you
but,
can't please anybody. And no matter what you do, like someone's going to find a reason to hate something or whatever. Like,
especially if you do anything important.
you donate a bunch of money to a charity and someone complains like, what about and you're like, what are you just going to donate to every charity that exists? It's never enough for anybody. So like you might as well just kind of do what you want. And then the other thing that I had read, I don't even know who it was. I want to say it's like Henry Ford, as weird as that sounds. But I think it was Henry Ford, and they had asked. So it was like this thing where they had asked him, or no, he said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have told me faster horses. So he would have never created the Ford Model T or whatever the fuck it is. So like I thought that was very interesting. So it's kind of like, what you have to like have a belief in yourself, and if you feel like this is the thing that I have to do, or whatever, even if it goes against everyone's wants and needs or whatever, you kind of just have to believe in yourself as the creator.
What that kind of relates to advice wise that I always think about is also it's not just looking at the current paradigms, but like always reevaluating like the one you're in. Like I remember how many people when like internet was obviously mattered still were like, oh, I want to make TV and blah blah, not realizing that like that thing is over. It's you're chasing something that's like dead or dying.
Yeah.
So even like stylistically, art wise, people chase like dying styles and dying.
Of course.
Yeah, and so that is you always have to kind of be looking forward, not backwards, right?
Yeah.
And not just looking at how do I put a spoiler on the current thing, like what comes next.
It's also like a lot of those things too, especially in like the comedy industry, where it's kind of like getting on Conan was like the ultimate thing in the world, and now it's like everyone, like a lot of people get on Conan.
Oh my god, I can't imagine caring.
You like get on Conan and you think like your fucking career is fucking. It's now I'm a millionaire and like all this shit. It's just not that, It's
No.
and I feel like people held that in such high regard, and then you get it because or you like still chase that even though you know what the end result is. But it's like, well, at least it looks like I have my shit together.
Which that's more attractive when you're 25.
Is what?
Probably.
Like ceremonial things.
TV
that, that look like, because to be honest, when you're in your 20s, you almost don't actually need to have your life together. You just need a couple like key talking points for when it comes up.
To seem like you have your life together?
Yeah.
And what are some key talking points that I can bring up to seem like I have my life together? I need those.
I got this going on. I'm going on tour. Yeah, I got my merch line coming out.
Okay.
Like, dude, if as a dude you couldn't sell that in a bar to a chick, is like things are going fine.
Yeah.
You go, oh yeah, fucking, I got this coming out. I'm doing this. I'm doing whatever. It just needs to be on paper. But on 35, like the actual parts have to be there.
Yeah. It's also funny because before the podcast boom, you were able to say like, I have a podcast, and people are like, ooh, that's interesting. Now you say that and they're like, okay,
They're
all
like,
right, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
everyone's
now
got
it's
one.
part of a package. I mainly think about I do comedy, like film and stuff, and podcasts, like all that kind of. It's like part of the package.
Well, you guys both have really successful podcasts.
No, okay.
It's like,
I just want to make you both feel awkward, I guess.
It all depends on who you compare it to, right?
That's
I
true.
don't know.
Is there ever a moment where you feel like where you are able to like feel good about your success, or are you always just kind of like striving for that next?
I never try
tier?
to. I don't. Maybe I don't know if you're different, but I'm very big believer of like never feeling good about success or failures. Both, but I do try to feel good about the things I made, and sometimes I think things are cool. So I'll be like, sometimes it'd be like sell at a place and like your boys are there and it'll be like, yo, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, oh, so sick that we did this as much as like, this is cool what we're building here.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like that. And then also like making the thing like, or a new joke working. So I'll be like pumped about that, but not the like industry component attached to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way in that I don't celebrate either kind of
Highs or
ends of the
lows.
spectrum. You know what I mean? Like if something is going really well or whatever, like I can acknowledge like and be like proud of like, yeah, that was cool, or like, we had a good year or whatever the hell. But it's never like, fuck yeah.
Yo.
Like you go like crazy. I remember my mom early on used to tell me like, you're never excited. Like, aren't you excited? I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
no.
I've
like,
had that too.
like because I'm so
No, you just changed the bar to there.
yeah, it's like it's so far. Like whatever I want, I'll never be satisfied. Like as far as that goes, and not to the point where it's like I can't be happy or anything like that. It's just that I'm always going to want, and I would rather it be that way. Like I always feel like I always want to work. I always want to like make new things and try to make people laugh and like do whatever and just like random shit. Like like 10 years down the line, I like wake up and be like, I'm gonna write a fucking children's book. Like I'm gonna do that full throttle and like try to make it happen. Like that's just kind of how I think about it. So things aren't super exciting. I'm happy when things work out, but it's not very like I'm not super amped about that.
I feel like the way that everyone thinks about happiness is so like crazy, It's really, to me, it's just like one of the 10 inputs that you need to like,
Yeah.
It's almost like everyone talks about happiness like it's the goal, where it's like, I think if you need to be happy enough, like the same way you need to be like full enough, and you need to be like not tired. I don't want to be exhausted the same way I don't want to be unhappy, and I don't want to be starving.
So what's
and I don't
the
want to be
output?
broke. What is the goal? Well, that's what you get to decide.
But it's not happiness.
Well, what's the goal? I think that's you get to decide that.
Okay.
See, I think I am I'm never satisfied in the amount of like success, I guess, but I already feel like I've accomplished what I want. Like I'm very grateful in that because my job now, I am fully like in charge of. Like my days are because I've created this thing and I'm doing it now, and I'm very conscious of like I am extremely lucky to be doing this, and like I'm very happy for that. So I'm completely satisfied in that regard. But wanting more and like how much you want, I don't think that will ever like kind of end. Like creating, whatever. And that's not really like a dollar amount either. It's just like this.
You know what
it's
it kind of is too? It's attention, but that is, you almost have to find the parts that you like, because if you like, let's say you're also running a business and then you're also, dealing with, logistics of tours or whatever. If I remember the other day, I was like, because I hired someone, I hire like editors as well. And so I have people editing. And then I was, there was like 3 or 4 things that other people were doing. And I was doing all this other stuff all week. And I was like, yo, did I just hire everyone to do all the stuff I like? And now I'm doing all the stuff I hate. And that's all, all I do now, is like parts that I don't like. So, and I was getting not funny. I could feel it. And I was not, like, when I was writing, it wasn't good. And it was all that. And I was like, so you have to, I don't know, I'm always trying to be conscious of like that. Yeah, this is good. I'm under control. We're kind of moving forward, which is progress. And moving forward is that a constant state that feels good. But if you don't have that, then you're just like, what are we even doing here?
Yeah.
So I just gave myself like an office job at my own fucking art company.
Yeah. I can sense from both of you that you're both like extremely hard workers. Like, do you feel like your day, like how do you, we talked a little bit about this, Ryan, before, like how do you guys organize your time? Like as like some people that work for themselves, like how do you organize your time? How do you allow yourself to appreciate your hard work? Like, how do you allow yourself to take time for yourself and just like enjoy the fact that like, yeah, you are successful. You did put this time in, and like, now you can take time for yourself in some regards.
At least for me personally, like I don't think that I truly have an appreciation for anything that I do until it's like at least a year old, and I could look back on it like, oh, like a memory, because I'm, especially the way that I'm functioning now, like I do like videos like every single week, and then I do a couple of podcasts and stuff. So there's a lot of content that comes out. So there's like a production calendar, and there's a lot of things that are coming. So I can't even think about something that's coming out because that we shot that 2 weeks ago, and we have to keep getting ahead. So there's not really a lot of time to like appreciate. There is like when it comes out and you can see the initial reaction, like that's very nice. But for me to like, it has to feel like a memory of being like, oh damn, like that was funny, like when we did that, like and maybe that's wrong, like I don't know, but like, or maybe that's not like the healthiest way to go about it.
So looking at the body of work.
Yeah, I'm just looking back and being like, that was a cool video, or that was a cool idea that we did. Like, but it's so much like we have an idea, we like try to make it as cool as possible, and we like spend as much time on it, then we do it, and then we have to be on to the next thing already. So there's not a lot of time to kind of reflect on it, because once it's shot and the editors have it, then it's like, all right, what are we doing tomorrow? Like it's kind of that fast. But there are pockets where you can look back on something and say like, damn, that was really fucking cool. Or like I said, just as a general scope of everything that's going on, like I'm super happy and thankful, and I'm like completely conscious of that, which is nice. That is also like a new thing for me, where I wasn't conscious of that. But in the past like 2 years, I've been like, dude, just fucking like be happy here. Like you're doing like okay, like, and just like you're fine. And there was some cool stuff that happened. Like, don't be a bitch about it. And like, I don't want to be one of those miserable people, or like those people who get like a 99 on a test in high school, and they're like, fuck you. I got like a 71. Like, give me a break. Like I don't want to be that.
Well,
guy.
I think it helps to always like your metrics that you're judging yourself on are the metrics of the thing. Like, for example, if you're an athlete, you can judge yourself on how good you are or how well you played, but not whether you like won the championship or how much money you made or those sponsorships. So it's like with stand up or with videos, like you can already judge yourself on like the whether you're like the process part of it. You have to be able to stay in, or else as soon as you like exit that, it feels like where you go, okay, this is how good at this thing is. Now it's a factory. I feel like every time I start doing that for more than 2 or 3 weeks, that's when it all starts like falling apart mentally for me. And I start being like, what am I even doing? What should I fucking, like.
And that's interesting what you said about like it matters like the metric in which you judge it. And I think for me, it's the creation. So like, are you still good? And especially like when you're doing stand-up comedy, I mean, it's when you're up there, it's every 2 seconds. Like, are you still good at this? Like, like, is everyone laughing still? So I think it's just on the creation of stuff. And that's why like you create it and like, yo, that's cool. And then you're like, all right, let's see if I can replicate that and keep doing it. So it kind of feels like this endless thing where you're always chasing that. So you have to keep creating and you have to keep going forward in order to keep getting that feeling.
I think so.
I feel the best. Like I feel like I'm thriving the most when I feel good about my sets. I feel good about my stand up when I'm putting the most work into just like being a good stand up comic. Like when I've written more, like you have to do all of that business stuff.
It does fuel the whole sort of thing if you think of that. Like
you
the
have to
centerpiece.
do all the business shit. Like you have to like produce everything else, but like that's what you're doing it for.
It's the hardest one. I mean, like doing all the things. I mean, I've been making TV shows and videos my whole life and playing in band and whatever, doing millions of things. And all of the last 10 years, I'm always like, my life would be a lot easier if I just removed stand up from this equation.
It's brutal.
It's the hardest one.
Yeah.
It's the only one that you only matters if you have 10s, whereas other ones like 8s are fine. You know,
Right.
whether they're podcasting or like you can just always create that. And then on top of that, it's at night. You can't. It's hard like logistically to control it. So it's just from all standpoints, stand up probably is the worst one for like lifestyle design.
But it is, I feel, the most rewarding. Like that, there's nothing more.
I also think it's the most
rewarding.
important one if you two, where it's just like, okay, this is the raw, like, are you funny?
Right.
Yeah. I
Right.
think so too. And like I don't really even do stand up, and I started doing videos on the internet, and I always had it in my head of like, oh, I'm gonna do stand up comedy. Like I'm eventually like
That's
just
how it
gonna go do it.
starts.
And I remember I was doing a podcast, and this is when I first met Tim Dillon. This was like a very long time ago, and I had talked to him because I had a podcast with this woman, Kate Wolf. Do you know who she is?
Yeah.
So I had a podcast with her years ago, and she knew a bunch of comedians, so they would come in all the time. And I always felt this like insecurity that like
I should
I'm
do
the
that.
kid on the internet. And this is what you were talking about before, where people were just kind of like, this is bullshit. Like this social media is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Instagram's
yeah.
dumb.
Now
Like,
they're all asking
now
you
they're
questions.
all on it.
Yeah.
No, well, they're all on
Myself
it, posting their
included.
clips, doing this and that. And I was like, yeah, this is what I was doing. But at the time, I was so insecure because I was just kind of like, damn, like I want to just like be a part of this thing. And it wasn't until Tim, who he wasn't like a huge comic at the time, but I respect him because I thought he was just so fucking funny. And he was like, and I was telling him this whole spiel, and he goes, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, why would you do stand-up? He's like, don't do that. He's like, dude, it's miserable. He's like, you don't want to do that. He's like, whatever you're doing now, he's like, that's what's going to happen in the future. He's like, fuck all these people. He's like, don't do any of it. I was like, all right, fine. So I kind of just like focused on, like I was working a job as an editor and producer, and then I eventually left that to like do what I'm doing now full time essentially. So I just put like a big focus on that. And I also like I respect comedy so much that I would never be like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking walk out there and do a show. And
So
it's
what's
gonna
the
be
hardest
easiest
part
thing.
about what you do? What's the hardest one?
I think it's just it's the creation is the hardest part. I think it's the
Like the
only
sitting down
thing.
and writing.
Yeah, the
Right.
writing, or honestly, I could write forever. The idea, the first idea.
Yeah, what are we
so
trying to
hard.
say here? What's the point we're trying to make?
Yeah, like
How's it been said? What are
Yeah.
we up to
or
here?
like the hardest part for me is like just if you were like, okay, this, and then I'm like, okay, like I could talk about this for 2 hours and I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I can't pick the thing. Like that's the hardest part for me. Is like just pick something. Like they're all here.
So that's
pick a
actually
thing.
that is two different types of like people. So I'm more the way that you said. It's well, you need inputs. So you're really good at like generating, but you need like inputs first.
Yes.
Whereas someone like Tim Dillon his stream of consciousness creates inputs. So
Right.
they're way more of like a flow state. Whereas I actually do see the world more than you. So it's about how do you get the inputs into your head that now branch off, and you need like a input.
Right. Yeah. And like I can do it, but I just can't do it at the speed that I would like. Like I think I'm like quick.
If you could, you'd be a machine, right?
If I could just like fire out ideas that
know.
are good, but I have a partner now, one of my friends that I've been working with since I worked at that job. And he's really good with that. And he's not even like a comedian or anything, but he's just like, he understands like just ideas, I guess. And he can create these little ideas. I'm like, oh, okay. And I can start pulling on the thread and like really get it.
And
out
that's one of the
the
people
thing.
that works for you?
Yeah.
And he's like, he writes little sketches that he goes, yeah.
No, he doesn't like write them, but he helps in that, you know, we brainstorm on everything, and we've done like a bunch of projects together. Like there was like a book proposal and then a script and then, you know, a fucking board game and shit. Like all these things like started as like just us talking and bouncing ideas. But I feel like, and maybe it's similar for you, there's not a lot of people that are on the same wavelength as anyone who's like creative. So when you find someone that it feels like, oh, they understand exactly like how I view it too.
Yeah.
And then it feels like, okay, now this makes it a lot easier when you have more people to talk to and like bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
So you could do like a productive brainstorm. Or if you talk to your friend who doesn't really get it, and they're like, what about like candles? And you're like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, you're not even in the ballpark.
Yeah, like what are you saying? You know, like
they don't even know the rules of the game you're playing, so they're outside of it.
That is very hard to find. So when you find someone who's like good at like they get it and they could come up with ideas and whatever, at least for me, because
like when someone gives you an idea and you're like, I shouldn't have to tell you why this is a no.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, do I need to explain this to you, or can I save you the fucking annihilation that
Rule
I'm
of
about
thumb,
to?
anyone out there, by the way, if you go up to any of your comedian friends, is like, you know what you should say? You've already lost. Those are never good. You know what would be a funny video? Or you know what would be a good sketch idea? You should do this. You'd be like, shut the fuck up, dude.
I think the biggest thing that people miss is when they have ideas that they give you is they'll tell you like a joke that is a point that you go has been made a million times.
Yes.
They just, I feel like people give me very, very often that. And I go, well, what's like the point that this sketch is saying is like been said 10,000 times and everyone agrees. Like, so what are we saying here?
Yeah.
You know, the funny part, like that's easy. If I have a really good like idea and sketch, like the funny part's easy. So I don't need your page afterwards. If you have the idea.
Yeah.
Ryan, I feel like your videos you're so good at like pushing. You really do such a good job of like pushing the limit and the perfect, like you push the limit to the perfect way. Like I love the way you like go up to strangers and ask them questions. I love like the
classic man on the streets.
The woke,
classic Canadian man on the street.
The woke, not woke stuff. Like, do you ever worry about like pushback on your videos? How do you draw the line about like, you know, I shouldn't cross this boundary or I'm comfortable crossing this boundary? Like, how do you approach that?
I mean, I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. That's one thing, but that is not necessarily something you can control. But it does suck that, if you're living in the like saying wild stuff comedian game, like you're always going to be up against that.
Right.
So I don't know.
I feel like you do I've always thought like you do a very good job of like walking the line perfectly.
Well, I think that's maybe from stand-up, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's satire, so I feel like there is a little bit of that. I always say like Canada is a little between America and British, so it's a little like America's very in your face and Britain's like very like soft and sarcastic, and something like in between that. So it's like my comedic styles, I always try to remove like the venom before I say anything. So I think that's a big difference. Like a lot of people make their stand-up or points and they're very like, this is what I think, and they're almost like there's anger there and like venom, you know, like a Bill Hicks or the kind of like a classic American comic. And now, you know, a lot of the people who don't like Trump, like it's very angry, right?
Right.
Whereas I feel like, or even if I was talking about like a girlfriend or whatever, my whole theory is that like I need to be over this before I make it funny.
Yes.
So I can't be mad about it.
I have always fucking said that. I've always been like, the audience is so fucking smart. They can tell if you're over it when you talk about it. Even if you think you're over it, if you're not, they can feel it. And it's like, I can't talk about anything in my life if I haven't already like processed it to some degree, because they can just feel it. Like they just know. But that is such good advice for me personally, to like remove the venom before you talk about something.
But some people, that's their thing, right? I guess. But even then, I think the people that are good at it, they actually did remove the venom and then they put fake venom back in.
Or they
I was going to say
maybe
that.
not fake, but controlled venom, right? Like they know what they're doing and it's a craft, it's an art.
But
it's not
you're
just
not
random.
actually angry about it.
You don't want it to be like, I'm just feeling this, so it's random. Like the whole reason it's a craft and it's an art is because like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, at least that's my style.
That's the thing too. I think that as long as you treat it as like an art, like you should be fine, because a lot of people, I feel like a lot of comics, you can tell when they're like, all right, you're being edgy for the sake of being edgy. Like, you're not making
young
a point.
edgelords?
Yeah, like, you're not making a point. You're not like whatever. You're just like saying, like, you're making like a fucking
Well, my new podcast
molestation
is called,
joke,
we just say the N-word 95 times an episode and call it a day.
Yeah, like, it's like you're just like for the sake of whatever, like doing that. But like, there's like, as long as you're not like a shitty person at heart, then like everything should come out fine. But if you're like just gonna throw away who you are, it could be like, oh, I'm gonna make this joke and like I'm gonna have this edgy thing to say, and you're like fitting it in when it's like not really you. It's like not your voice anymore. Then I feel like people can tell, and that's when you get into this like, all right, now you're like offending people. Like you don't even realize what you're doing now.
Yeah, and if that was the point to like, make your comic friends at the back of the room laugh, then that's one thing. But it's funny like analyzing art like it's any different than people, but it's like the same reason that fucking some guy trying to pick up girls that like hates women. It's you know what I mean? And like says mean things to them and they can tell versus a guy that's like being,
Yeah.
kind of flirty or whatever. Like they can say the exact same thing to the chick and it's like an audience is the same as that.
Yeah.
Like negging.
Yeah,
It's like,
whatever,
I'm premeditated. Right? I'm gonna be mean to this girl. It's like, the fuck are you talking?
Yeah,
about?
so I think that not everyone interprets everything on the internet. So you're gonna have lots of people interpret it every different way. But there is people will watch like 4 seconds of it and make their judgment or whatever. Or maybe a lot of times it was like the person they posted it. Like let's say I do some video and some super political person reposts it. The person watching it already thinks that they hate it if they hate that person or
Right.
so it's like a lot of times the context is already they're gonna decide what they decide anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that like I always say like you kind of at least on stage talk to like men more with the words and women more with like your energy. So I think that that's can somehow can also translate onto internet or whatever. I think like a guy like Adam Sandler would be like a good example of like his energy is very attractive to like women, but he's kind of saying shit dudes would like at least.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you notice a difference in the way women and men engage with your content?
Not really. Like I think, because for the most part, like stuff that I do, like you make a lot of videos that are like legitimate scripts where there has to be like a
Yeah, because I'm
story.
doing satire, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
like
doing,
it has to be like linear. It has to be like a whole point.
genre pieces.
A lot of the stuff that I do is just kind of just like silly shit. So it's kind of like this would be a cool idea. Let's just like fuck around and just like talk about whatever, just like bullshit.
Should he shoot everything multi-camera?
Well, what do you mean?
Multiple cameras?
Yeah. Well, I know multi-camera. Like,
Well, I mean, I know
multiple
like
camera.
like Churdleys and all those LA guys.
Oh yeah,
they do like a
that
ton of
one.
improv and they shoot with one camera and it just seems like wild to me.
But like they're shooting like sketches and stuff. Yeah, that is kind of fucking crazy. I wonder how long they shoot for. Like,
Dude,
and how does it make? I mean, it doesn't really make any.
He's
sense.
like a crazy genius.
Yeah.
But they'll do like talk for like 10 minutes and then like switch the camera and be like, all right, let's do that again. You're like, I don't remember any of that stuff.
Yo, honestly, I think that is like the hardest type of comedy to do because I'm like, the words don't make sense. There's no story. There's no plot, and I'm dying laughing. Like, how? Like, what did you just do to me?
He
like,
invented a genre, dude.
It's crazy.
It's
It's
like
so good.
cool like deconstructionalist shit.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just don't understand that. But as far as like guys and girls like interpreting or whatever, I feel like I've just had like a different kind of thing because I have like the silly shit, but also on my podcast, like sometimes I'm able to show like who I actually am and have serious conversations or do whatever. So a lot of people, and I've been doing it for like a decade. So people like
The people know you.
They know who I am kind
Right.
of. So it's like you either like it or you don't kind of thing. There's not really like an interpretation. It's kind of like, oh yeah, that's fucking Joe, like, whatever. Like a lot of people have like watched me over the years. Like at this point,
You're just in the ethos.
it's just kind of like, yeah, he's just fucking kid over here again. Like that's just kind of, and like I'm cool with that because it's kind of like, whatever. And that's kind of how I built it. I wanted it to be as like authentic as possible. I didn't want it to feel too much like a show.
How much do you feel like your personality as you is your personality online? Like, is it truly authentic, or how much of it is like an exaggeration?
I think it used to be a bigger exaggeration where, I was making videos every week for like 6-7 years or something like that. And that became a show. And then I stopped doing it because I was like, I fucking hate this. Like that I'm a character now. Like it felt very weird.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But now I think naturally, like if you are someone who's gonna do comedy, or you're a creative person, or you like attention or whatever, in those moments where you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking tell this story right now, so you act a certain way. That's who I am. So like, it is me. It is authentic, like 100%. I don't act like that all the time, obviously,
Right.
but in the moments that I do, like, feel like, oh, I'm gonna tell this story, or I'm gonna, whatever. Or I'm at like a family party, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, in those moments, like, yeah, that's what you're gonna get.
Do you ever feel like it's kind of like a mind fuck, just like dealing with the way you're perceived versus how you perceive yourself, like in any capacity, or
I don't really
no? That
think about
question
that
doesn't
too
make
much.
sense.
I just don't even like think about it, like where I'm like how people are sort of like seeing me or perceiving me, or how I like look at myself. I just kind of like,
You're just like, you put content out and then that's it.
yeah, and that's kind of how I always treat it too. I don't really read comments, and I don't really pay attention to like what people like. I'm arrogant in that way of being like, I just think this will work, and people will complain about if you change something in the background, or you edited something different, or you sat in a different seat, and there's like this bit, and I'm just like, I really don't care. Like, I try not to be controlled by those things, because I'm just kind of like, what's gotten me to this point is just literally just following the gut feeling and trusting in the people that I respect their opinions. And if everyone's like, cool, I'm like, all right. And then everyone else can fuck off and watch it. If you hate it, you hate it, but whatever.
How big's your squad that works with you?
The people who I like work with creatively that
Like,
I actually trust are
no,
like
I mean
only
like
two people.
day to day that are in your office. With you.
5,
That's pretty cool.
4 or 5. But like I have one guy who's in Argentina, like a graphic designer who's in Argentina. So like,
Nice.
Wow, look
He's
at you
not-
guys.
that sounds way cooler than it actually.
International team.
You know what's funny? That kid reached out to me and sent me an email of a video. It was 12 minutes long, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he basically sent me a video explaining why my podcast art was fucking trash. And then he redesigned it, and I'm watching this thing. It's 12 minutes long, just shitting on it. And I'm like, he's right. Like, I was like, this is
That's
great
sick.
that he did that. And he showed me why and what he would do and whatever. And then I was like, fuck. And then I ended up hiring him. And this was like 4 years ago.
It's so interesting because we were talking about this earlier, but you said someone that works for you also came to you with clips that they made before
All
you
of the
hired them.
people.
Yeah, and this is something that Robbie said on one of the episodes. Robbie at Barstool, he said that's one of the ways he got hired is he was just making clips because he loved Barstool so much, and he was just sending them. And I really think that like that's what you want in a person. Like you want someone that's that excited
If you're
about
really
it.
good,
Yeah,
now-
if you're good.
If you're really good, now's a pretty good
Yeah.
time for it.
Right.
Because you can find it's easier to like fit the person with the opportunities.
Right, especially because
Dude, if you
know the person then. If you're an actual fan.
if you know the person
right.
and you even if they're like popular, if you make like if they're actually looking for art or clips or whatever, and you make one every week and tag him in it, eventually you'll see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like if
And
you
also,
do shit like that.
that's the new fucking resume. Like, I
Right.
don't give a shit what editing school you went to, whatever. Like, but you still have to get it, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to like funny shit or whatever. Like, comedic timing, especially in editing, is everything.
Dude, a guy was making, he started making cartoons of the podcast, and then they were sick, and then we had some segments that I really liked, so I just messaged him being like, hey, you want to do a bunch of cartoons? Okay, you want to do some stand-up clips? Same with the art guy, and same with the like my full-time employee.
Yeah, like no one that I know, I think, has ever like done a traditional hiring process where they like went on Indeed or something and like ZipRecruiter trying to find it. Like,
Yeah.
you just send your shit to these people, and eventually someone's like, oh, dude, that's really fucking cool. Like, all right, cool. And now do a little trial run, and then you fucking end up getting a job that way.
You know what? One thing I did change in recently is, and I think this maybe less so for probably what you do, but the like I was struggling with like, oh, am I make my stuff for the month all 1 week, block shoot, and then do it, or is this a current event situation where it's like that's the thing? It's all about having like, and then I sort of made the rule that. I realized I was not happy when I didn't have at least 3 videos ready to go. So I felt like, because then anything big that happens, so I go, always do that. And then no matter what you're doing, if something really, really huge happens, you drop everything and do something for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Which before I would be like, no, those are the rules I said. That's, you know, whereas now, like, for example, if I was doing something and we were going to do a podcast or I was going to shoot the next day and then like the Will Smith thing happened. I'm like, no, we got to go make something. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Those are like, that's part of this game, or at least for the current events thing. When something that big happens, that's like a layup.
Yeah.
It's like a good chance for people to pay attention or whatever.
Yeah, and it's also just like an opportunity. Like everyone's going to do it, and if you think that you're,
If you're
better
better.
than everyone, then
Yeah.
like, all right, you're
It's a
gonna
good
see
chance
it.
to prove why you're better.
Exactly. Like now you're getting a shot against everyone else. Like it's like a tryout, you know? Like,
It is.
I'm going to do this, but better than everyone else is doing it.
It's game
you know?
day a little. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I went from being like, no, I can't live in a place where I'm just dictated by the news. I have to make like semi-current things. But then I switched that and I was just like, I had to make a big switch. And I think I was better.
Yeah, I mean, if you take
Smarter.
advantage of it, then that's like literally what like an hour after the Will Smith thing, posted something that you
That
had
was an
already
old one.
made.
That was an old
It
one.
was an old one, but oh my, everyone was like, "What the fuck? How did you do this so quickly? What?" But all right, guys, it's that time.
Oh, boy.
This is my.
Oh, what do you do?
Okay, I always end my podcast with, "Are you want to all hold hands?"
Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know what
I
you're
thought
doing.
that's what you were
Are we
about to
doing
do,
this?
and
A
I
seance?
loved it.
Should I-
Yeah, let's do.
Okay, that's
I don't know. You
that's
put your hands
fucking
out like
hot.
this.
No,
like-
I loved it.
That's
What
like
were you doing then?
Our father. I don't know. I was listening to her.
She goes, all right, guys, it's time. And then I go, oh, what
Oh
do we
my
do?
god!
And she goes,
that's
whoa.
never
Sort of
happened.
sacrifice
No, I
someone?
love it. Let's do it. Okay, this one is crazy. This Oracle deck. So, you asked, what's the difference between an Oracle deck and a tarot deck? Ani, I'm just explaining it wrong every episode. Can you pull up the clear, professional difference? Every episode I explain
can.
it, but you know, I'm feeling stupid today.
What's it called?
It's an Oracle deck. This one is the Tantric Dakini Oracle.
I feel like I think I have a feeling of what I think the difference is, but I'm gonna Google
Well,
it anyway.
we explain it every episode,
Yeah.
but
More technical. Okay, so Oracle deck versus Tarot.
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 It's not
Tarot.
tarot.
No, I know.
Oracle decks are a tool of self-reflection to add to your magical and spiritual practice, or just to use for fun. All while Oracle cards can offer insight similar to tarot cards, there are some major differences. Okay.
So tarot cards are usually 76 cards, and they're all like the High Priestess, the Empress. They have cups and wands and pentacles.
The cups.
Well,
yes.
I think you use
and this can be
oracles-
anything.
Use
Okay.
like more oracles for a specific reason, like because to feel the vibes of the podcast, right?
Right.
Like a tarot would be more like future-y type things for a specific person.
Are you like interpreting this in a random way, or
No.
did you just like read the thing?
So basically, I always pull a card at the end to be like, okay, does this card encapsulate what we talked about on the podcast?
okay.
I
Do
know
they have names,
this
or they're
is
just like
this
pictures?
is totally what you guys are into. I know this is like your vibe. You guys
No,
are
yeah.
both like so
I am
witchy.
fully. I believe this.
Very
right now.
whimsical.
You guys are like witchy and like spiritual, and like that is totally my vibe. So actually, what are your astrological signs?
Leo.
I'm a Pisces.
Wow.
What are you?
Yeah. What does that mean though?
Of course, they go, of course you
Yeah.
are.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw that from a mile away.
Can I be honest? And I hate
You
to say
hate me.
this.
You
No,
hate
no,
me.
no. Most comedians, stand-up comedians are fire signs. It's true.
Okay. Which ones are the fire signs?
Aries.
Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. Most stand-up
Got it.
comedians are. Pisces, a lot of them are Pisces. They're very in touch with their emotions. It's a water sign.
I am a pussy.
Yeah. If you're a pussy, you are probably a Pisces.
Yeah. I honestly, I believe that part of it.
I wonder what your other signs are. I bet you have some fire in your chart somewhere. I don't know. Anyway.
Actually, I just read my birth chart the other day. We did it like a Patreon episode where I read it, but I forgot.
Ugh, men are so useless.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just my memory's shit. That's what it is.
All right, Ryan, I would love for you to shuffle these cards however you see fit. This book is fucking crazy. So I have a different Oracle deck every episode. Wow, this has been like the 7th Oracle deck or something.
Yeah,
Really?
we've done a lot.
We've
yeah.
done a lot of them. This one's crazy. Someone gave this to me as a gift. The imagery on here is wacky.
I just saw The Ring.
Yeah.
So that, I actually watched that movie the other day, oddly enough.
What's your, can you pick a number between 1 and 5?
3.
Okay. Will you cut the deck into 3? Yeah.
Damn, predicted
Wow,
that.
what's happening here?
Look at that one that popped out there, though.
Did one pop out, or was it just
The one that slid. I
I
don't
think
know.
it was just a,
But, yeah, we'll let it slide.
Okay.
it's a mistake, I think.
Joe, will you pick a deck? Pick a pile? You can touch it and pick the card.
So take the top card?
Yes.
Shit. Okay, we'll do this one.
Wow, what do we get?
I don't know.
Like a bubble.
Whoa.
Wow, I'm telling you, this is a really funky deck. Can you put this closer?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
put it on the tray, and I'll just live there. Or don't set it on fire, though.
That's definitely gonna light up.
yeah. Well, okay. Well,
Like a bubble. All right. Let's see. What number is it? 45.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm seeing here.
Okay, guys, let's see if this is what we talked about. Like a bubble bears the number 45, signifying the path of self as related to the world of phenomena. According to the classification by elements, this is a water card,
Hello. I picked it.
normally related to the suit of cups, which is creativity, baby, in the minor arcana of the traditional tarot. The head and breast of a reclining woman, are seen partially emerging from a sea of colored waters, out of which a number of bubbles ascend. The waters symbolize the many aspects and elements of the world. The reclining woman indicates the relaxed attitude needed before the bubbles of pure consciousness can arise. I can't pronounce anything. The wings of the dragonfly, positioned at either side of the head, tell of the tenuous nature of all experience, life and death. The veil of illusion, which shimmers like the skin on a bubble or the colored surface of the pool. The concept of the bubble of the world is mentioned in the something and is a potent topic of meditation taken up in the Tantras. The bubble is a very fragile but self-contained unit which floats upward when freed, eventually just to disappear into nothingness. As an evocation of the memory of original unity, spontaneous rising, the bubble is likened to the world as a dream. Like a bubble, like a dream, thus is reality.
I heard you say breast back there, and I was like, all right, cool.
That's
Ani,
where you lost
what
me.
do you
too.
think? What do you think, Ani?
I mean, where you talked about creativity.
It's a wacky deck.
Well, they say
and-
enough stuff. Some of it's got to make sense.
Some
Yeah.
of it.
You guys,
Are you like really
part-
into tarot and like?
no.
I don't really
Oh, I don't
understand
know.
the tantric
Yes.
part of this deck so far.
Okay,
but
so there's a whole other section, but I can tell that no one is into this, where it goes through how it applies to each chakra.
oh, that's interesting.
That's another thing. I don't even
I'm
know
here for
what
What's a
that
chakra?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a pressure point.
It's
or
an
something.
energy center.
Yeah,
That's it. I believe in that.
yeah.
Like Tai. It's
Bullshit.
like Tai Chi. No, for real.
Bullshit.
Isn't it?
Bullshit,
No.
you don't.
No, I do believe in like energy shit. I don't know if I believe in like because of the time and place you were born. I know that you're gonna be like indecisive. I'm like, okay.
No, it's not that. It's more like it's a vessel for self-reflection.
Yeah, but
Yes.
words are.
But it's either true or not.
No,
right?
it's like obviously like my astrological chart is not going to pinpoint everything that's right or wrong about me.
Sure.
However, by looking into it and understanding it, like it's a way for me to like look into myself, and then there are parallels.
Yo,
that
self-reflection's
you
gay.
can find. What if I am?
You look inward. I look up. Dude.
Yeah, I look fucking up, dude.
Look how fucking crazy these cards
Never look down,
are.
bro.
I never look down, dude. Chin high.
Yeah, looking down is just looking inside is just another way to look down.
You guys don't think these cards are fucking?
Maybe if I'm upside down, bro.
That's the only time.
Wow. Well, I have two
these
guests
are
that
cool-looking
they
cards.
don't like.
This
oracle
one describes
cards.
me for sure.
I definitely think
What's that?
Totally bananas. I will let you guys
Totally
pick the
bananas.
card that you think best encapsulates your personality.
Here, show us the banana one.
3 Scarlet Women. That sounds kind of cool. Ooh, what is this guy?
Oh, so I'm finding one that I think is me? This can't be how it works.
This is how it works.
That's the
How about that?
It's like the driver's license where they go, it's a chalkboard. Just write in how you think you're how fast you think you're going.
When I took my driver's test, the woman was like, "You're gonna have to drive, sweetie." It was so bad. I kept driving into snow. It was
Oh,
terrible.
I failed mine 5 times.
Wait,
Really?
She said
Five?
you're gonna have to drive.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
just
you didn't
kept
know that?
stopping.
Yeah, I was like, wait, yeah,
Oh, that one I could take.
Which one?
I can't.
Oh,
relate.
this one represents.
I am
Natalie,
dangerous pussy.
I found your mom's card.
Pearls before swine.
It's a pig.
Just the picture.
I'm this one, dangerous pussy.
Ooh, a
But I'm not the
lion.
past. I don't like that.
Dangerous pussy.
So maybe. I'm
Is that what it says? Dangerous pussy on it? Oh no,
Yeah,
it does.
it does.
It does it?
It does, I
oh, good for
swear.
that.
Oh,
That would have been cool if we pulled that. I'd be like, damn.
yeah.
dude.
This is, there you go. If a girl shows up unshaven. Burning bush.
lineage tree.
You go, this is getting shaved one way or the other, girl.
Jesus. So wait, with tarot card or like, so the belief in
I
that.
like this that you care.
No, like,
Ryan was like.
But I'm
no.
I'm interested why you believe that like okay I was born February 25th, right?
Yeah. Were you?
I was. So why is it that you think people who are born around that time act or have similar
The only thing that
characteristics?
I would say is that there is something to do with guys with the sports thing. Where I mean, if you're born in January, you're going to be, generally bigger
Better,
than other
yeah,
people,
better
which
at
might be
sports.
like a thing that leads to confidence in some way, right?
what's so
if you're
funny?
bigger
The other
than,
thing is, like,
if you're
I
born in
said that.
December,
The
I mean that makes some sense.
The moon,
Yeah,
like.
but what does that have to do with like
But
your
think about this. Do you believe that when you have a full moon, people are like a little wackier and like a little crazier? People always say
No.
that work in ERs.
I don't because I don't even like
No.
know when it's a full
The
moon.
moon
No.
like affects the tide. Like the moon
Of
affects
course.
us. We're made of water,
Kinda. It's locked inside skin.
guys.
No, I don't think the moon makes me weirder.
Can I tell you something?
But like
Okay.
the ocean moves, but that doesn't mean it's like what's happening to the ocean like.
You know what, you guys?
But like pulling like if it moves, it's just movement, right? Like
This
Mother of pearl. How about that
Mother
one?
of pearl. We don't have much in this world. Okay, what do we have? We have loneliness. We have atheism. We have fucking.
Getting a little depressing. here.
We have, but what do we
Keep
have?
going.
Then what do we have? At the
I
end
am a
of
godless city kid, but not everyone has
Yeah,
atheism.
yeah.
In fact, most of the world is religious.
Actually, I was raised by atheist parents, and so what do we have at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, motorcycles and tattoos.
What do we have at the end of the tunnel?
Tattoos and stand-up comedy.
What do we have at the end of the tunnel?
Dangerous
sounds like
Your
Yes,
mom once again.
We have a self-created living goddess.
There we
That's
go.
what we have.
that was like a really cool. This one's Eternal Life. I'll hold on to this one. That'd be.
Oh,
Actually,
they have one for my enemies.
death. Wait, Jesus. Thank God we didn't pull that. I'd be like, where the fuck am I? Right
Sometimes the death card is actually a new beginning.
now?
Yeah,
I
won't
don't
be a
think
new
the-
beginning
The
for
I
me.
tone
pulled it
change there
twice
was.
in 1 week.
That's crazy.
They made a card for anyone who crosses me and my frickin' crew.
My tarot crew.
Yeah, I did the tarot's crew. Oh, this one, something that didn't happen. Do not read it to the camera.
Oh my God, Ryan, where can people find you?
Now I really don't believe it. All right.
Something that did not happen. Oh my God.
The Boys Cast with Ryan Long, youtube.com/Ryan Long Comedy. Catch me Tampa, San Diego, Omaha, Cincinnati.
Awesome. And Joe, where can people find you?
You can just on every social media platform that probably exists. It's Joe Santagato. Good luck spelling that.
Mainly Rumble, mainly,
Rumble.
yeah, it's like the ones for people that are kicked off the other ones.
I'm on Parlor if you guys want to check me
Yeah,
out.
in the edgy boy community, there's quite a few.
Catch me on Reddit, Weed Lord 420.
And as always, you can find me on Instagram at Natalie Cuomo _ everything else at Natalie Cuomo. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Natalie Cuomo, and we will see you next week. Thanks.